Algorators, welcome back to Celebrity Court. Let's see who's joining us tonight. LBH, hello, Dream Team. You don't know the team we got tonight. We got our full house. Essie Stone, good evening, everyone. JP Mills, hey, y'all. Always good to see you guys' names. It makes my day when I see your name in our chat. Benicia Phillips, thank you so much. Hey, fam, I'm in the house. I miss y'all. Need some shows, Al Babes. Benicia Phillips, hello, chat. SL, hello. Protecting My Peace 44. Hello, everyone. Hello. Lee Leo, welcome back. Danielle Cameron, always good to have you. Who else we got in here? Who else? Colette Davis, thank you for coming back. Teray M. Charlene Lambert. Afra Sings, thank you so much. Let's see. Gloria Spiller. Oh, that's a new name. Welcome back. Rukeya Shy, welcome. Tasia Davis, welcome back. Riri, welcome back. And Deliria Washington, welcome back. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Tonight's episode is titled Crime Waves, Red Notices, and a Rap Mogul on Trial. Order in the court, everybody. Court of Public Opinion is back where the headlines meet hard truths. And guess what? You, the jury, get to decide the verdict. Tonight, we have 4 cases that rip through not only culture and crime, but also, as always, celebrity. First up, Tracee Ellis Ross pulled into California's crime wave, making us all question, is Hollywood safe anymore? Or is fame now a liability? Simon LeVay, the so-called Tinder Swindler, is back in cuffs. Yes, you heard me correct. He's back in cuffs. Does Interpol have the receipts, or is this social media smoke? Akon, one of my favorite R&B artists, after 29 years of marriage, his wife says, I'm done and I'm out. She has filed for divorce. The question, though, is what happens when love, money, and legacy hits the courtroom? We're going to find out. And last but not least, Luigi Mangione. Guess what, everybody? Brace yourself. The terrorism charges have been dropped, but a murder case still looms after the brutal killing of healthcare CEO. Can he beat death row, or is justice closing in? We're going to talk to the lawyers and find out tonight. And guess what? Here tonight, we're not just spilling tea. You know that, right? We're serving subpoenas. And before we bring court to order, we're going to invite all the attorneys that are joining us tonight. First up, we have our entertainment attorney, Ashley Carter. Ashley, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be back. Thanks, Al.
Joining her is that civil attorney, Shatan Turner, that feisty civil attorney, Shatan Turner. Welcome back.
Hey, Your Honor. Glad to be back.
Oh, gosh. What is that energy? Come on. Joining her also is another attorney from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Jason Weiss, author of Shit They Didn't Teach You in Law School. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you, Your Honor. Excited to be back.
All right, joining him, it's also humorist at law, Sean Carter. Sean Carter, come on into Celebrity Court.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Christine R., your man is back, so I think all is well. All is right in the world. Let's get going.
Christine R. can calm down. And last but not least, for another year, we have the one, the only criminal defense attorney, Brian Ross. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
For those of you that missed me, I've been working with Donald Trump very closely. He sends his regards, wants to tell you that he loves you. I hope you vote for him again on his 3rd term.
I got to talk to him. Lord. How did we get this man in here? I just don't understand it. All right, everybody. Court is now in session. First up, Tracee Ellis Ross has been linked in reports about California's crime surge, with her name surfacing now among other high-profile celebrities facing threats, attempted burglaries, and neighborhood spikes in crime. Details are vague, but the cultural panic is loud. Are A-listers just like us when it comes to safety? That's the question I want the panel to think about. But I'm going to throw this to our resident entertainment attorney, Ashley Carter. Can Tracee or other celebrities because of their celebrity status, can they hold the cities accountable for their inadequate policing or negligent security?
Well, I guess there's some sort of argument that if you're a celebrity, maybe there's this higher standard of, when you're looking at negligence, right? There's a standard of care. I guess there could be an argument, but I don't know if so much they're going to hold the city. I think they need to be looking at their insurance policies, because word on the street is when celebrities get broke, and I'm not saying Tracee did this, so let me just start with that caveat. But sometimes when celebrities don't have as much, sometimes they actually, again, not necessarily Tracee, will fake these burglaries because you're able to cash in on really huge insurance policies. So again, I'm not saying that that's what she's doing, but there have been some to have done that. But it just seems like, I don't know, it's almost like when the fires come every year, right? For California, it's like every year there is a fire season, and then there's what they call robbing season. And it seems like it's the same season every year. So going to the negligence argument, police authorities should kind of be a little more on high alert during this time, because it literally happens every single year.
All right, let me go to you, Attorney Ross. Brian Ross, you're a criminal defense attorney, and you live in Miami, a region that also sees spikes around celebrity crimes. Do you think the city or the municipalities that they live in Miami could be held accountable for inadequate policing in the state of Florida?
Absolutely. And that's why Donald Trump wants to send the National Guard to places like Los Angeles to stop these types of heinous crimes. That's what I was talking about. Okay. You got to have cameras, Tracee. You're my cousin, Tracee Ellis Ross. Okay. You got to have cameras. You got to have the security guards. But what I see bigger than that, Judge, is this is not just happening to famous actors and actresses. It's also been happening to athletes. There's an athlete around the country. The NFL just did a big investigation into all these athletes' homes that were broken into. And most of these people are these young 18, 19-year-old kids who need to have more to do, and they're breaking into their house. So while I do subscribe to the insurance, quote-unquote, scam theory, I see it. There's a rash where it's becoming socially popular to break into these people's houses, which is the real fear. So the police do need to do a better job. But LA is a busy place. There's a lot going on there. So I'm not sure how much they could do, especially when you're dealing with people who got 10, 20, 30, $40 million. They can afford to hire private security. They can afford to have better security cameras. I mean, there's a lot they can do. I mean, get a Rottweiler. Just get a couple Rottweilers and you'll be fine. You know?
Attorney Weiss, let's go to you real quick. Should the state of Florida or the state of California treat crimes against celebrities as enhanced crimes, or is that preferential justice?
That's preferential justice, because now the police will come faster to the house of a celebrity because it's a celebrity. Like, we don't want the police picking and choosing whose homes to go to first because of wherever it is. So look, like Attorney Ross said, you have insurance. If you have those valuables and you have that concern, then yes, get private security. Get cameras, take out insurance policies, do all of these things. I'm not saying that you as a celebrity or you with money are saying to the world, come and rob me and take my stuff. But at the same time, you know that you are more prone to it and you need to take more precautions.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Turner. Let me ask you this. If A-lister stars can't protect their homes, what chance do working class families have?
If their cousin's Pookie, that could be their option. I mean, might have to take things into their own hands. No, seriously, I think that every homeowner has to assess the community, assess the points of entry in their house, and take steps to ensure and hopefully prevent people that you don't want to be in there. States that allow you to have firearms, if it doesn't offend your sensibilities, get a firearm. There's other options. There's also non-lethal firearms that exist. One company is Byrna. You can shoot somebody, you can stop them. There can be like the equivalent of tear gas, whatever in there, and you don't have to kill them. So there's a lot of ways to avail yourself of protection.
All right, let's go to you last, Sean Carter. If you use these types of protections, I think, don't you have to worry about being civilly sued by these crazy nuts?
Yeah, you certainly can. We've had cases in the past where you set up a booby trap and you blow the person up. That's going to be considered a little problem. The idea is that you can use deadly force to protect human life, but not necessarily property. So if you're out of town and the only thing they were going to steal was your TV, the solution that we use here in the Carter household is we don't have nothing. And here's what I mean by this. All right. Seriously, the most valuable things we have, like for instance, the pool. We got a pool in the backyard, steal that. All right. But we don't have jewelry and stuff you can carry away. And that solves all the problems. I'm gonna give my address in the comments here. You can come rob my whole house. You can get about $35.
Judge Al, someone else put in the comments another quick thing. It kind of reminds me of the Kim Kardashian situation. Don't post your stuff on the internet and don't post when you're away. Wait till you get back and then say that you're away.
All right, let's go to the algorithms. Do you think celebrities deserve extra protection under the law or the same as everybody else? I actually want us to think about this. Do you think celebrities and athletes, let's add athletes, do you think celebrity and athletes deserve extra protection under the law or the same as everybody? Jump down in the chat and put extra protection if you think that they deserve extra protection because their risk is higher, or put same because fame isn't a free pass. Extra protection or same because fame isn't a free pass. All right. If you think danger is only lurking in the LA streets, guess what? You better think again. Some predators don't use weapons. Instead, they use Wi-Fi. From Beverly Hills panic to global swindling, let's talk Simon Leviev. Am I saying that right? Leviev. For those who don't know, Simon Leviev is known globally as the Tinder Swindler. Simon Leviev is back in the headlines, though, after an Interpol red notice, which I can't wait for us to learn from the lawyers what this means, because he's facing, guess what, everybody, new charges. Now, we don't yet know the details, but this could escalate from scammer to international fugitive status. All right, we're going to throw to our resident Jason Weiss. Okay, Jason, what exactly is an Interpol red notice, and how does that differ from an arrest warrant that we use here in the United States?
So an Interpol red notice is a request to law enforcement worldwide to locate and arrest a person pending extradition, surrender, or some sort of similar legal action. So basically what that means is it's worldwide. You see this person, detain this person, and go ahead and send them to us. And that's exactly what it was. So if you think about it, you go to the airport and you're on the no-fly list, or you have a warrant out for your arrest, they're going to arrest you right then and there, but it's probably not going to be worldwide. So this is Interpol, it's worldwide. You find this person, grab them, and don't let them go anywhere.
Okay, really quickly before we throw to the bailiff, this is my thing. This is clearly proof that in 2025, you don't need a gun necessarily to ruin lives. All you need is Wi-Fi and a good lie, because that's how he caught all of these people online, all these very vulnerable women. Bailiff, take it away.
On Yehuda Hayut, the convicted fraudster who became notorious as the Tinder Swindler following a Netflix documentary, has been arrested in Georgia. Authorities said he was detained on Sunday after arriving at Batumi International Airport in the southwest of the country. The Georgian Interior Ministry confirmed that Hayut, also known by the alias Simon Leviev, was arrested on the basis of a red notice issued by Interpol. It is not yet clear which state requested his detention or on what grounds. A ministry spokesperson, Tato Kuchava, confirmed only that he was arrested at Batumi's airport at Interpol's request. Hayut's lawyer told Israeli media that the reasons for his arrest remain unknown. I spoke with him this morning after he was detained, but we don't yet understand the reason, they said, adding that he had been travelling freely around the world. Between 2017 and 2019, Hayut allegedly used the dating app Tinder to impersonate the son of billionaire diamond mogul Lev Leviev. He is accused of conning women into giving him an estimated 7.4 misas by luring them into emotional and financial dependency. The 2022 Netflix documentary The Tinder Swindler detailed how Hayut created a false persona to win the trust of women, often taking them on lavish dates using private jets and bodyguards. After establishing relationships, he would claim his credit cards had been compromised and persuade victims to open new ones in their own names for his use. Hayut denied the allegations, describing himself as a legitimate businessman who had built wealth through Bitcoin trading. In 2019, he was convicted in Israel on charges of fraud, forgery and theft following his extradition from Greece. He was sentenced to 15 months in prison, but served just 5 months due to the COVID pandemic. He was also ordered to pay £35,000 in compensation and fined for using a false passport.
All right, let's go to our resident female lawyer.
To all the ladies, though, Sean Carter is $49.99. He doesn't need 7.4 billion. So send your money to Sean Carter. You can find him at Sean Carter on Instagram. $49.99, ladies.
Sean Carter's not going to take you on private jets and luxury things. I want to hear one second. I want to hear from Attorney Turner. I looked at a comment here by JP Mills, and he says these darn desperate women. So tell me, why are we, when it comes to the justice system, why does he get away with such craziness of ruining such people's lives through financial fraud, but it doesn't look like the crime is taken as seriously? He stole over $8 million from women, but only had to pay back 35. What are your thoughts on this, Attorney Turner?
There's a lot of judgment that goes in here. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago with a football player who was accused of similar things. He had done this and come down from Canada and was trying to fight extradition. People think adults should know how to protect themselves. Period. The end. So if you were just dating on the internet, you kind of get what you get. There's this whole notion in this country that people are like, well, don't be a fool, right? That's the worst thing that you could be in these streets, other than a rat. And in my household, like, you don't want to be stupid. And this is one of the circumstances when you start telling the story to somebody other than you, and it results in you giving tens of thousands of dollars to some charming stranger whose credit cards didn't work, and that's why he couldn't pay for anything. Ain't nobody believing that, but it's only in the moment when you are there and you're looking into those beautiful brown eyes and you're falling for it that it makes sense. But it does not make sense to anybody who thinks, and that's why they judge these women harshly. They think they're desperate, just like JP Mills said.
Right. Now, but one thing I gotta admit is Baylor, put that picture back up. He's a very handsome guy.
Stop it.
Hold on. He's a very handsome guy, looking like that, traveling all over with private jets. Great. You don't usually, people who fly private jets everywhere, unless you're an athlete or an entertainer, they don't look like that for a lot of women. A lot of women who date very wealthy men end up dating the guy. The guy looks like the guy on the right who's holding him in handcuffs. Let's have a good conversation. So I can see how, if this very handsome man on the left is flying me on private planes,
but he wasn't,
all these luxury stuff, I could see how I could get caught up. But before we talk about that, we'll come back to that. I want to ask the criminal attorney, hey, Brian, what about double jeopardy, though? Because he's been charged for some of this stuff, or he's been taken to court for some of this stuff. Where does double jeopardy lie in this? Because I thought of, understanding the little bit that I know and what you guys have taught me is that you can't be tried twice for the same crime. So how is he back in handcuffs, and how does this make sense?
That's a United States rule, right? That's different. I'm sorry, Ashley. That differs jurisdictions. He was arrested and put in prison in one place, arrested and put in prison another place. If I rob jewelry in Buffalo, New York, right, and then turn around and rob more jewelry in Toronto, Canada, and I get charged with robbing jewelry in Buffalo, New York, 2 hours away from Toronto, Canada, because they're in different jurisdictions, I can be tried in both places. So when I get out of jail, I go back into jail in one of the two, and that's what's happened to him.
All right, go. Okay, cool. Got it. All right, let's go back to you one more time, Attorney Weiss. How does international fraud prosecution work when crimes cross multiple borders and victims?
So, I mean, basically what they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and they'll try them in each of the areas, or that sometimes the governments will work together and they'll put it on and they'll charge him for all of those things. But there's a good chance that he can get tried, sentenced, serve his time, come out as a free man, so he thinks, and then whoop, over to the next one.
So he can be charged again.
Yep.
All right, let's close this conversation out. Let's go to you, Attorney Carter, Sean Carter. Talk to me about cyber predators. Are laws going to become more aggressive now that it's becoming a bigger issue? How do we handle cyber predators and being victims of internet crime like this?
The big problem here, though, is that it's international. So normally what happens is when you rob somebody, right? And I've been robbed before. I grew up in Compton, all right? I robbed every day going to school, right? But that person was right next to me, all right? And so the police can come get you and do that. The problem with this international stuff, and the reason why he's gotten away for all this time, and by the way, he's going to get away for most of the stuff he did because the statute of limitations is run. He was doing that stuff in 2017 and 2019. I assume that the reason they picked him up now is because he's doing new stuff, because Tinder's still in business. But the bottom line is this, is that if you commit a crime, I think about it, he's on a keyboard, right? Somewhere in, Malta, and he robbed somebody in California. Technically, right? He has never stepped foot in California. It's hard to even establish the crime he committed, at least from the California standpoint. Now, you can use banking law and other things. But the thing is that when they want to get him in California, they got to go to Malta. And Malta might send him back if he's already in jail. But they're not going to send their police out in the street, go looking for you. So look at the other way. If you're in the U.S. and you swindle somebody in France, the French police can't come here and get you. They got to get the FBI to come get you. And the FBI is like, look, I got crazy white boys in Utah. I got Luigi to define. I can't run around and look for this fool on Tinder, right? And so it's hard to even get the local police involved because it's not a crime that occurred in their jurisdiction. And so it's easy to get away with this for a long time. The choice, ladies, is, by the way, Tinder is not meant to be doing international banking and diamond finance. That's meant for a 3 a.m. booty call. You missed your
Judge, he ticked off the wrong oligarch's wife because they popped him in Georgia, like just outside Russia somewhere. Some Sylvia police got him. So when they get you, oh, you ain't coming out.
Let me ask the attorneys this. You saw with Tyler Perry's new claim that the guy has put millions and millions, like over $100 million in his claim, and he's claiming $100 million of it he's saying is from psychological abuse. Why can't these ladies argue psychological abuse and get more money from this guy? And why aren't
that's not criminal? That's civil. You can't mix civil with criminal. They want to civilly sue him for intentional infliction of emotional distress or whatever. That's a civil case where they would sue him for money. But this is criminal. Also, just a legal note: his arrest, I see, is specifically connected to him defrauding a woman in Berlin from 2017 to 2019. So this is a new victim, Berlin, 2017. So he was specifically arrested because of defrauding a woman from 2017 to 2019. And a story time, not really a story time. I went on a date with somebody that tried to pull the whole, I left the credit card at home. I sat right there until we had the person Uber delivered the wallet. Oh, you weren't gonna have me paying on that. So you can't let people.
Where'd you meet them off of?
In LA. I've never done Tinder, but it was
Craigslist.
You met
Craigslist. You found them on Craigslist.
No, it was not Craigslist.
Actually, Madison's really was, but anyway.
I'm just saying, even someone
I admit it was me. I'm sorry.
Someone as intelligent as me could have been like, oh yeah, he left his card at home and could have went with it. And something told me, no, don't go with
or you could have not Shaitan the moment and paid for the first date.
That's no, I'm not paying for no first date.
Over there like paying for the first date.
That's really
y'all was out at Red Lobster getting that 2-for-1 shrimp.
You gonna let him get away with that?
Do you know how much it costs us to get ready for a first date?
Right.
It far exceeds what you're going to spend on dinner, and it is so worth it.
Here we go.
Hey,
on another show, Judge, I need you to detail that. What does it cost for Shaitan and Jay Carter to get ready? I would like to know. I know we don't have time tonight, but I'd be interested to know.
I think Jay Carter's probably more expensive to get ready than Shaitan.
Shaitan ain't cheap. Look at them glasses she got on.
I think Shaitan's restaurant choices are better than Jay Carter's. That's just my
Red Lobster back in business. 2-for-1 shrimp special.
Venetia Phillips, thank you so much for the super chat. Venetia Phillips, we got a super chat. We haven't gotten it. She likes the cast, I guess. Thank you, Venetia.
Somebody needs to give money to some men to take Jay Carter and I out to dinner.
Can we put Venetia? All right. Can we put Venetia Phillips super chat up? Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat, Venetia Phillips. All right, let's go to the algoritms. Algoritms, do you think Simon Levine should face life in prison for repeat fraud, taking all this money from these women, even though it's not it's a nonviolent crime? Do you think Simon Levine should face life in prison for repeat fraud, for ruining many of these women's lives by taking their homes, their savings, and all of their wills and trusts? What do you think? Drop down in the chat. You think he should go to prison, or do you think that's too harsh? All right. But if Simon proves money and lies can ruin lives, our next case shows what happens when love itself breaks down after nearly 30 years. Let's step inside Akon's divorce court. Yeah, you heard me correctly, you guys. After 3 decades of marriage, Tamika Thyme has filed for divorce from Akon. She's seeking spousal support and custody of their 17-year-old daughter. And guess what else? She wants to block Akon from claiming support from her. Now, this case asks, when fame and fortune collide with family, who really pays the price? Well, we got one resident divorcee on our panel. We're going to throw to attorney Shaitan Turner. How do courts calculate spousal support in long-term marriages, especially with celebrity wealth? And the question that I have here is, she's specifically asking that the courts block Akon from claiming support from her. I don't know if you want to share your situation, but does that mean she makes more money than Akon?
Oh, because she pled that? No, the filing for divorce is very formulaic, right? And so without her saying that he can't file for support, that's something he could do. I'm not sure how much money she makes. I don't think she makes a whole lot. I think one of the more interesting things about the case is how they were living, and how now it's surprising to me that they're getting divorced at all, considering their private life. But as it relates to calculating support, there's a temporary formula that tends to just be a math equation. And then there's the permanent formula that's a function of how long the relationship lasts, who was the higher earner, how did they live when they were together, whether you're in a community property state, an equitable distribution state, or some other flavor of that. And so that's how spousal support is calculated. And some states also factor in, when you're talking about the permanent spousal support, they factor in bad deeds. So infidelity algoriters can be a disqualifier for spousal support, for permanent spousal support, in states that recognize that.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Brian Ross. Venetia Phillips says, which wife? Because as we know, Akon has 4 wives. How does that work?
I think that's like a crime, right? Polygamy of some sort. I don't know where he lives, in Georgia, right? Which could be true there. Who knows? But I don't know how that's even possible. You know how you have more than one wife.
She's the legal wife, Judge Al. She was the first one. So out of all of them, so technically, when you're the first, you're the legal wife.
She's the only one legally.
I'm gonna ride.
But the other one, I believe they were his wives. She has one child with him, and she's seeking custody of that child. That child's 17, but he has
What's
9
that about?
children.
What's that about? The child is 17. Like, what decision?
You only get 1 year. You hope you go to college.
Yeah, what factors influence the custody decision for teenagers that are 1 year before they're legal?
They get to tell the court where they want to live and how they, do they want? She's asking for shared legal custody, primary physical custody, and so if her daughter doesn't want that, then her daughter could influence the court. But what I want to know, because I'm messy, right, is what does a fool have to do after 29 years when you've already agreed to polygamy, right? He already had 8 children that aren't yours. He's got these other women that he maintains households with, and his wife has testified or discussed that in the media, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are already letting him spread his seed all around town, then what did that fool have to do? And he prided himself on maintaining all of the households financially. So unlike some people who have one husband who can't seem to satisfy one wife, and they can't pay for one household.
Bitter Betty.
He was
All right, let's go to you, Sean Carter. What are your thoughts on what Attorney Turner's saying?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of if you let him cheat 8 times, he could cheat 9 for free. I totally get that. But she decided that she's done with it. And here's where it's sweet. She remember that Profile song, all right, where he says you're a liar, a cheater, deceiver, heartbreaker, and I'm taking the house, the kids, the cars, the kids, and the dog. That's what she's doing. She's taking it all. And guess what? She getting it all. Here's the thing is, when they got married in 96, he was broke as a joke. All right. Mm-hmm. He had no record label, no nothing. He's selling bootleg tapes out of his car. All that money he made during the 29 years of marriage. Now, here's the best part. Presumably, most in Georgia, they don't have community property, but most of it's like if you have all the money together and you only made the money together, they usually try to split it 50-50. But here's why she getting about 70-30. Because she's going to say, hey, all that money you wasted on all those other families, all those houses you spent, that was your half of the money. My half of the money is I'm not splitting with that. I didn't get to sleep with those women, so I'm getting all my money back out of that. All right, maybe she did. I don't know how they do it in Akon house. But the point is, assuming that she didn't, she's like, hey, she's gonna get more than half. She can take everything. She's gonna take most of it. He can be running around. I hope he good. He ain't good with the other 4 wives. They can give him somewhere to sleep because he ain't gonna have nothing.
Let me ask you, hold on, Attorney Ross. Hold on. Let me ask you this question, Attorney Ross. Could she be, in response to what Attorney Turner was saying, right? Why would she leave after 30 years? Because maybe she feels like, her payday is never going to come because he's out here spreading so much seeding to all these kids. So if she divorces him, it forces her payday for the 30 years that she never got equity correctly. Could that be a strategy of hers?
No, Judge. Akon, my client Akon was married to this woman for 29 years. For most of that time, she lived and understood that my client had more than one spouse. Call it what you want. Common law, non-common law. We'll get to the technical definition later. But the reality is she was perfectly fine with it. As long as my client supplied her with a financial lifestyle for which she was accustomed to, it was okay. The moment she wanted to leave, she filed for divorce.
The moment, what? No, you muted yourself.
The moment he pulled the money back, he wanted to file for divorce. I'll agree. I'll stipulate to Sean Carter for saying she was there with me when I was selling tapes out of my back of my Honda Civic in Bankhead. Okay, I'll give her that. But outside of that, she can't come with I need to double up money. You knew I had Shaquita. You knew I had Sonya. You knew I had Rashonda. You knew I had Deja. You was partying with me. So now all of a sudden, you want to
Attorney Weiss is looking at y'all like y'all are crazy as hell.
He became DMX.
You know why?
He just became DMX. He did the DMX roll call.
Right. With the program. It'd be different if It'd be different if you caught me out here in these streets at 5
the card.
He's just Mr. Lonely. That's all it is. He's Mr. Lonely, right? He's lonely. I'm lonely. I don't have anybody for my own. There you go.
Okay, wait. Now we can't all talk at once. Now y'all gonna try.
Attorney Ross is conflating one point, though, in my opinion.
First of all, stop using big words. Conflating means way too much food.
Yeah, what's conflating mean?
Well, my grandmama told me she was conflated and she had to go to the bathroom. I need to use regular word.
He is conflating or confusing the concept of infidelity with dissipation of marital assets. And that was the point that Attorney Carter was making. Dissipation of marital assets is that all income it's a theory that's made during the marriage belongs to the marriage. So the fact that he had these other households, what she's likely going to say is she didn't agree to it, she didn't condone it, and that she should be entitled to half or whatever the equitable is. Maybe she was producer on some of these songs. I don't know. But that's how you get to Attorney Carter's point, which is she could end up getting more because he squandered his half by having hoes.
Colette Davis says, Brian, hold on. Colette Davis says, Brian has been gone. Brian has been gone for 100 years, and then he come back and pops off.
Look, Colette Davis, you're rocking with me. I'm not disrespecting my panel members. I'm not disrespecting the court. But if you catch me with Jermaine Dupri at Magic City, and we was just in church with Creflo Dollar, and you didn't know about it, come on, you didn't talk to her. But if you know, I got 4 on the side, and we've had this conference. I left on Christmas and came back on New Year's, and you knew where I was at. Don't pop up and tell me you're tired of half the money.
But Danielle,
hold on, guys. We got
Danielle Cameron has a very good point, though. They have been married for 29 years. Akon has been spreading it around a lot, and maybe his tool don't do what it used to do.
Why women always gotta go to the
that's what's going on.
Judge, I'm being quiet.
That's horrible. Order in the court. All right, let's go to the algorithm. Algorithms. If Akon's wife entitled to spousal support after nearly 3 decades, or should she walk away clean? Put in yes, she's entitled to spousal support, or no, she should be independent by now. All right.
Well, another story time that's not really a story time. I met one of his other 3 wives and one of his girlfriends that he could propose to.
Probably on that bed.
With all those women.
And Bible study.
Yeah. Well, so I met them at a dinner and they were there together. See, they know about each other. They were there together. And then we went to church together the next day.
Jay Carter, you're making me question.
All I know is with all those women.
To Brian's point, I gotta have Brian's back. They know about each other. I mean, these people are having dinner and going to church together. So
all right. Let's keep it moving. We got 2 more
for a while. I don't know how you do it for a while.
All right, everybody. The likes aren't liking. Please be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button because you know when Brian Ross shows up, all hell breaks loose on your Celebrity Court. Turn on your notifications so we can possibly get him back. And last but not least, continue to jump down in those comments. All right. Now, if you thought divorce was messy, wait until we step into the darkest corner of tonight's docket. From broken vows to now broken lives, Luigi Mangione's murder trial is where the stakes are life and death. All right. Luigi Mangione was charged in the killing or unaliving of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. A New York judge just today dismissed 2 terrorism counts, but did not dismiss the second-degree murder charges that will remain, plus a federal case where prosecutors want the death penalty. Now, defense argues double jeopardy and challenges the manifesto and weapons evidence. So I'm going to go to my resident criminal defense attorney, Brian Ross. Talk to me about what's going on here. Like this seems like to me a whole bunch of jargon, right? A whole bunch of legal jargon that's prepping us for this young man possibly not getting the sentence that he deserved for unaliving that CEO. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, okay, so give me a second, Judge. There's a couple layers to this algorithm. First one is December 2024. You may not recall, the CEO of United Healthcare is walking down the street in some Mangione walks up with a gun, unfortunately takes his life. Horrible. When that happened, he went on the run. He wound up in 3 different jurisdictions: New York, Pennsylvania, and the federal jurisdiction. In Pennsylvania, he was charged with some weapons charges. We won't even deal with that. In New York, in the federal courts, he was charged with terrorism, right? Murder, terrorism. All that stems from 9/11 when they flew airplanes in the towers and they enhanced that charge. It's called an aggravating factor. You don't just kill him, you kill him through the use of terrorism, which is try and promote this scheme, right? So if you go back in time, people were saying, well, he killed the CEO of United Healthcare. There were mixed feelings about that. How you feel about that's up to you, but there were mixed feelings about that. The prosecutors argued he intended, by use of writings, to create this landscape of hate against CEOs, healthcare insurance companies, right. And therefore he is creating terrorism, murder through terrorism. Simultaneously, he was charged with second-degree murder in the state of New York. So his lawyer, who is also Diddy's lawyer, right?
Oh, wow.
He's Diddy's lawyer, busy man, said, first of all, start at the top. It ain't terrorism. He didn't do X, Y, and Z. The judge agreed. Judge said it's not murder through terrorism. However, I'm going to allow the other murder charge in the state of New York to stand. Then his lawyer argued, well, you can't charge him with murder in the federal court and murder in the state court. Judge disagreed with that. He said the murder counts carry different elements of law, and therefore they both can stand. And that's what happened to him. So he's still looking at the death penalty in federal court, 15 to 25 years in New York state court, and they're going to go to trial. Which goes first or second? I don't know. I think the state goes first. We'll see how that plays out. But the most serious charge in New York, which is murder, which would have carried life without parole, the terrorism charge, is dismissed. And before I move on, Judge, it's important to note, his lawyer, we all studied a lot in the last 2 years. He's a talented guy.
Right.
He still has a motion to suppress evidence for violation of Terry stop rules because they started questioning him and learning things about him without invoking his Miranda rights. We'll see where that goes.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Sean Carter, because this is my question still. And and Attorney Ross touched on it briefly, but I want to hear what you have to say. Can Mangione realistically claim double jeopardy when state and federal prosecutors pursue separate charges? I think you're mute.
Thank you. Double jeopardy says you cannot charge someone for the same crime twice in the same jurisdiction. Not for the same act, but in the same jurisdiction. So New York can't try him, and then they get his acquittal, and then New York can try him again. But we see it very often. The feds will come in afterwards and try you. So remember, and by the way, we liked it when it happened with Rodney King. The officers got off. And then what happens? The feds came in, brought the same charges against them for beating Rodney King, and a couple of them got convicted. So the feds can come in the second time and do it. Now, in this case, the question is going to be who's going to go first. And it looks like the state has been waiting for the feds to go. Remember, this happened in December. All right. You could have had a trial by now. That was 10 months. And I think they've been waiting for the feds to go. And the feds were like, look, we don't want to waste our resources if you can get a terrorism charge, because a terrorism charge carries life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now they can't, right? Or they're not sure they can get it. And so now the feds are probably going to go first and say, yeah, because we got something better. We got the death penalty. We're going to charge him with, and I love what they charge him with, murder with a firearm. And normally it's not a federal murder charge, but certain federal crimes committed with a firearm can then qualify as murder, as federal murder. And one of those crimes is interstate stalking. And so what they said is, you stalked him from state to state. You went from Pennsylvania, came on into New York, and as a result of that, you now have come into federal jurisdiction, and now we can get you for federal murder. And by the way, the thing is crazy is almost every crime they can get you for federal murder, because interstate stalking also includes using the internet. So even if he lived in New York and he had used the internet to find out where the guy was at that time, they would say, hey, you use an instrument of interstate commerce, the internet, and therefore it's a federal jurisdiction. And in short, if the feds want to get you, they're going to get you.
All right, Jason, let's go to you really quickly. Let's talk about this death penalty. Should the federal government pursue the death penalty in cases like this, or does that politicize prosecutions?
Yeah, they should absolutely do it. I mean, look, he took the life. He's been accused of taking the life of another, and if that is the case, then he should also be charged with something that you could use the death penalty for. I mean, look, people say it's not humane. Everybody has their own opinion as the death penalty is right, but I don't see a problem if he is found guilty of all of the charges for him to get a death penalty sentence.
I'm just so confused. Like, I don't think it's a if. We know he unalived the guy.
He's claiming that he didn't do it.
How?
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out, right?
The wife of Brian Ross is also on the case. So they're both attorneys, which I think is pretty cool. And she already talked about something about
the wife of Brian Ross.
Not Brian Ross. I'm sorry, Brian.
I wish I had that money, girl. Don't even try it. I wish
Sorry, Brian Steele.
So
the wife of Brian Steele. Brian Steele. So Brian Steele and his wife, they're both attorneys. So
got it.
She's actually more the lead on, or at least at one point was more the lead on the case. They're in the same firm though.
All right, let's go. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying she talked about some of the evidence very early on, like the DNA, like how they may have placed his DNA on the soda bottle.
I don't
know. We'll see. I don't know. I just know he's very handsome. Very handsome.
Oh, gosh. Please.
Giving Dark Knight.
Please mute Jake Carter. Oh, my gosh. Order in this court. We are not going to let him off because he looks good. Oh, your phone.
He looks like a Jonas brother.
Oh my goodness! Oh, let's go to the algoriters. Let's go to the algoriters really quickly. Algoriters, do you think that do you believe the death penalty is justified in Mangione's case, or should life in prison be enough? What do you think, algoriters? Jump down in the chat. Do you think death penalty is justified in Mangione's case, or should life in prison be enough? Put death penalty or life in prison.
But that's assuming he's found guilty, because you have to make that assumption.
Right. Okay.
One side comment before we go. We look at what Diddy's trial costs were, and we estimated that to be, like, I've heard numbers as high as almost $20 million. I don't know if that's true or not, but he could afford that. Luigi Mangione doesn't have Diddy wealth. What you're looking at is, how did you get Diddy's lawyer?
Oh no, he got a GoFundMe that has millions.
Got a GoFundMe. People pay.
GoFundMe that has millions.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, crazy. All right, let's keep it moving. This is a part of the show where we go to the verdict segment. All right, jury of the people. This is the time for you to drop down in the chat. It's time for the verdicts. First up, Tracee Ellis Ross. Is she guilty or not guilty of being caught in California's crime panic? I'm only going to ask one lawyer for their opinion because we have so many, and that is our entertainment attorney. Is she guilty or not guilty of being caught in California's crime panic? Attorney Ashley Carter, what say you?
She's guilty for not having more security. Yes, that's where she got caught up.
All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here at Celebrity Corner. We're going to find Tracee Ellis Ross guilty. Donna Ross is your mother. You grew up 70, 80 years with security. Get you better security. I mean, I know it's not right, but I think it makes sense. Simon Leviev, is he guilty or not guilty of being the most persistent scammer? Let's go to our resident Jason Weiss. What say you? Is he guilty or not guilty of being a sophisticated scammer?
He is guilty of being a sophisticated scammer.
All right, I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and we're going to find Simon guilty of being fine and guilty of swindling people because he's fine. All right, let's keep it going. Akon, guilty or not guilty of owing more than nearly 30 years? Guilty or not guilty for owing more after nearly 30 years of marriage? Let's go to our resident divorcee, Shatan Turner. Is he guilty or not guilty? Should he pay that lady her money?
He should pay that lady her money. He's guilty of making a really bad mistake in year 28. And I still want to know what that is.
All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. I'm going to find Akon not guilty. Not guilty, lady. Sorry, you signed up for it. You knew what it was, and you liked it until you didn't. And now you want to rob him of all the hard work that you helped him build. I'm sorry. I'm going to find him not guilty. Luigi Mangione, is he guilty or not guilty of deserving the death penalty? Attorney Brian Ross, what say you?
I'm not a proponent of the death penalty. He doesn't deserve it.
So you're going to find him not guilty.
I'll find him not guilty of the death penalty, but he can spend life in jail.
All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and I agree. We're going to find Luigi Mangione not guilty on the death penalty, but definitely guilty of life in jail without parole. In jail without parole. All right, everybody. Tonight we saw the scales of justice stretch from Hollywood crime waves to a billion-dollar fraud to a divorce that could bankrupt a legend and a murder case where death row is still on the table. Here's the question we leave you with, though. In a country where perception is power, does justice still belong to the facts or to whoever tells the loudest story? Think about that. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. I'm your judge, Al Reynolds. Court is now adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for watching tonight.
I'm with the bar.